Castles are inexorably tied to Western fantasy as a whole, including magic. Alpha's counterspell has one in the background, as do Black and White Knight. Alpha didn't just keep them in the background though, apparent from the card Castle. The first named castles on cards are Hammerheim and Urborg from Legends, introducing the idea that such a structure is a land card in the game. Castle Sengir from Homelands and Elfheim Palace from Invasion continued the trend, and Champions of Kamigawa gave both Minamo and Eiganjo Castle. More recently is Voldaren Estate from Crimson Vow and its Castle Dracula reskin. Eldraine was built up to be playing around with archetypal pieces from Camelot and fairy tales, so of course there were going to be castles. There's a full cycle of them, each with flavor text that communicates the main virtue of that court. Castle Ardenvale, the seat of King Alganus and Queen Linden, favors loyalty above all. Castle Ventress, where the magic mirror is located, is the center of knowledge. Queen Ariara has ruled over Castle Loch Twain for many years, persisting where most of her brethren returned to the wilds after humans became the dominant rulers of the realm. At Castle Embereth, knights can show off their courage in jousting on the tournament grounds. The giant Jorvo rules the court of Castle Garenbrich, where physical strength is held in the highest regard. On Eldraine, the castles are grand and spectacular, colorful and fantastical. In stark contrast is this block of grey, this uninviting and hostile building named the Hermitage Castle in the south of Scotland. It's here where we begin uncovering the origin of the Goblins of Eldraine. Hermitage Castle is named the guardhouse of the bloodiest valley in Britain by George MacDonald Fraser in his book The Steel Bonnets. It has a long history and we have to go all the way to the start, when the de Solis family had their home at the same place 700 to 800 years ago. In particular, we have to zoom in on the demise of one member of the family, William de Solis, tyrant, kidnapper, torturer and murderer. According to the Lorman podcast, de Solis' death had 3 different versions. In the first one, he conspired against Robert the Bruce, the King of Scots in the early 14th century, who then had de Solis killed. In a different version, the villagers de Solis ruled over rose up and killed him in retaliation. The last alternative involves a red-capped goblin, cruel and malignant of mood, who resides in spots which were once the scene of tyranny. William Henderson describes him as having long prominent teeth, skinny fingers armed with talons like eagles, large eyes of a fiery red color, grisly hair streaming down his shoulders, iron boots, a pikestaff in his left hand and a red cap on his head. The cap is red from the blood of its victims. When driven away, the goblin will vanish in a flame of fire, leaving behind one large tooth. This goblin, often named Robin, was supposed to be the reason why William de Solis was so violent. He was influenced by an evil spirit who protected him from harm by lance and arrow, sword and knife, and made it impossible to tie him down with either forged steel or hempen band. Since few things could hurt him, but a retaliation for his evil deeds was inevitable, de Solis ended up being boiled alive while wrapped in a leaden sheet. Robin Redcap went on to inspire fantastical reinterpretations in popular culture. For instance, the mod Twilight Forest for Minecraft has Redcap goblins and Redcap sappers who wear iron and ironwood boots respectively. Robin's fame also made his way outside of Western media. The Japanese light novel series Overlord and its manga and anime adaptation has Redcaps that are different from its normal goblins. They wear steel boots and have their signature red cap. And of course, Dungeons & Dragons has Redcaps too. D&D's Redcaps first appear on the cover of Ravenloft's book The Shadow Rift. Here they are winged pauries who wear caps dyed red with the blood of past victims. They are characterized as evil creatures who delight in violence, murder and torture. These pauries are immune to steel weapons. When one bites an enemy, they are infected with a blinding poison. In the 3rd edition, the Redcaps are mass-murdering psychopaths who live on other creatures' pain. They prefer abandoned keeps and towers that are deserted because of horrific tragedies. These Redcaps wear iron boots again and absorb the essence of their victims via the blood on their caps. They vanish into nothingness when dying, leaving only a tooth behind. One edition later, the Redcaps are now named Spriggan. They delight in the slaying of foes and still dip their heads in blood. They have an ability named Redcap Zeal, which triggers when they kill an enemy. The current edition of D&D characterizes the Redcap as homicidal, as bloodlust personified. This desire to slay is rooted in their will to survive. Unless its Redcap gets fresh blood once every 3 days, the creature will die. Heavy iron boots make their comeback here. Baldur's Gate's book Descent into Avernus has a wonderful expansion on the Redcap named Madcap. For these mad lads, soaking their heads in blood is not enough. They soak theirs in demon ichor, making them even more psychotic and more irrational. These creatures burst into flames upon death. For a complete D&D focused deep dive, we recommend watching Dumpstat's video. They also have the script online if that's more your speed. Magic has its own Roman Redcap. 11 years prior to Eldraine's Goblins, Shadowmoor introduced this to the solitary murderous Redcap. This creature has 3-fingered hands and feet with 2 toes. It has red eyes, a red cap, and a sword dripping with blood. The first thing it does when it is summoned is to stab someone. With this card, it was decided a magic Redcap is a magic goblin. Or as Doug Beyer said, create creatures from folklore, but interpret them through the lens of established creature types so as to reinvest in those tribally relevant creature types. And so it came to be that Eldraine's Redcaps are goblin. Here they are 4-fingered. Their skin color ranges from blue and purple hints on Redcap Raiders to full-on blue on Redcap Melee. In the Wildered quest, they appear literally once. Will and Rowan fight a group of them in a quest to find their father. The Redcaps are usually staying in the wilds, not daring to enter the realm for a long amount of time. Oko has stirred them up, causing the goblins to plague small villages on the border. Like the Pauris from AD&D, Eldraine's goblins use poison as well. They are known to smear pus flower juice onto their blades. But there's more to these Redcaps than red eyes, 4 fingers and bloodshed. Legend has it that in ancient times the most foolish Redcap asked the wisest sage a question they could not answer. For years the sage tried to find an answer, but they couldn't do so before their death. Upon dying, the question materialized into Indralon, the magic mirror, which still hasn't found the answer. The Planeswalker's Guide to Eldraine notes that the best way to deal with a Redcap is to wash the blood of its head with magical water. This information has been relayed to the in-universe writer of this document by an unnamed Ventress Knight, which is likely Elowen from the Wildered quest. She spent years wandering and surviving in the wilds. By her own statement, she is the most knowledgeable scholar in the realm when it comes to the wilds. She has discussed esoteric subjects with Ayara's cousin Elfra, such as splinting the finger bones of bats and how to control the spread of a brain-eating fungus. Elowen wants to know everything. She tells us early on that all the realm used to be part of the wilds, and that its denizens are not enemies. The latter is confirmed by both Elfra and Linden towards the end of the book. With that knowledge, Mad Ratter and Grumgully start to make sense as well. They are the only 2 goblins who are not named Redcaps. Similar to D&D's Madcaps, they do not smear their heads with blood but wear something different. Where the Madcaps go infernal, these 2 take a more benign route. Mad Hatter talks with rats and sticks candles on their backs as well as on their own head. Grumgully has a wild beard that's naturally red. His cap is filled with mushrooms, which he seems eager to share. So take it and be grateful, he seems like a fun guy. It seems highly likely we will see more goblins when we revisit Eldraine in the autumn of 2023, with a set focused on the wilds. Hopefully we can glean something of goblin civilization in one way or another. Maybe we'll see Grumgully or the Mad Ratter again, or perhaps another goblin who doesn't smear their head with blood. We hoped you enjoyed exploring the origins of Eldraine's goblins with us. If you did, leave a like, and if you want to see more of us in the future, subscribe. It really helps the channel. Thank you for watching, hope to see you next time.